Hey, what's going on everyone? This is Justin, and in this video I'm going to be learning to play chess blindfolded while only spending 1 hour a day on it. So just to step back, in this channel I challenge myself to learn difficult things while only spending 1 hour a day on them, and these are things that people typically don't think that they could learn. Oh, that could never be me, I couldn't learn that. And I just want to show you all that we're so much more incredible than we think, and as cliched as that sounds, I'm going to prove it to you today. And I think Thomas Edison said it best in the quote you just saw. I mean, this was a guy that had over 1,000 patents, so I think he proved his point. So I'm going to be learning to play chess blindfolded, spending only an hour a day on it until the point at which I can play, comfortably and at my current level, which, spoiler alert, is not very high. So with that being said, let's just start. So on my first day, I learned the positioning system of the board, and the way it works is that each column and row has its own number and letter associated with it. And this is actually how you would play blindfolded against someone. Your opponent would call out their move, so knight to g4 for example, and by responding with your move in the same fashion, you can play a game while forming sort of a mental picture in your mind of how it's progressing. And then I ended off this day just by trying to memorize a few random positions, just with a few pieces, but I had a lot of difficulty visualizing the board, and I really struggled seeing where the pieces were in my head. So to go a little deeper on my previous experience with chess and why I decided to learn this, I played a game against my dad a few weeks ago and I just got crushed. So I got the app and I started playing for a couple weeks, and then I saw this clip on YouTube and it was Magnus Carlsen, the current world champion, beating 10 people simultaneously. And he never looked at any of the boards. And it just blew my mind. Like, I was astounded. And like, to me, like, that's a genius at work, right? That's a prodigy right there. And without a doubt, Magnus is both of those things. But it got me thinking, right? Like, could an average person learn to do that? Or at the very least, could an average person learn to just play blindfolded? So memory and level of chess experience, probably the two most important factors to learning this. Two things I just suck at, right? My memory is awful, and my chess experience, sure, I'm a beginner, but to give you an idea, my rating on the app is 550, which seems okay until you realize they start you out at 1200. Now, I'm not doing this as a means to improve in chess. I'm sure there's 100 better ways to do that. I picked it because I think it's something that most people would agree is not really meant for normal people, right? Maybe gifted chess players or really smart geniuses, right, could do this sort of thing. And I just want to show you all that if we just commit ourselves to learning something for even just a few weeks, right, we would surprise ourselves beyond belief with what we're capable of doing. So jumping ahead to day 3, I was still playing through games while calling out the positions of the pieces, and I was getting a lot faster at recognizing the name of each square. And so after this point, I started focusing on memorizing positions of the board. I figured that was the next logical progression of learning this. And I would just set up a few pieces and play through only a couple moves in my head each time, and then I would try to memorize the new position and write it down and see if I was correct. Since I still couldn't visualize the board in my head well, I figured this was the best way to develop that while still starting small. And I was able to play through a few moves in a row each time, but I still struggled with seeing the way that each piece could move or the squares that they could move to, and I think that was just due to my lack of experience with chess. So this is the end of my first week, and over the last 7 days, I've gone from not even being able to visualize the board in my head to being able to play 10 moves consecutively without looking and memorizing the new position of the board. It seems like my memory and my ability to visualize are being improved dramatically, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where the rest of this challenge takes me. And something I wasn't anticipating with this is that each session of learning felt like mental gymnastics. My brain was being pushed hard and it was mentally exhausting, but felt amazing afterwards. It's like that feeling of having a great workout and then the soreness you feel afterwards, it can feel great. Probably the most interesting thing I found out during this challenge was that at the highest level, chess players can burn more calories in a day than marathon runners. Yeah, 6,000 calories a day during tournaments these master chess players can burn, whereas a marathon would burn around 3,000 calories for the average person. So in terms of what I learned, my visualization definitely improved. Now, I'm not saying I'm sitting down and watching movies in my head, but I can picture the progression of a game, and that's a huge step forward from where I was at originally. So one of the most important things I found when learning is that just jumping in and taking action is the most effective way to do it. Now don't get me wrong, preparing, making sure you're ready is really important, but you have to make sure you don't get in that cycle of inaction where you're prepping and then you learn what you don't know and then you need to learn something else and you never get started. And the best way, you just have to jump in and you just have to start doing it, right? It's easy to think that you just need a little bit more preparation and you're not quite ready, but if you wait until you're 100% ready, you're never going to do it. The goal is you have to make it a habit to just jump into new things even when you're not ready. I think it's really important to address the matter of effort involved with learning, and it's so important that you take an active approach and really put in effort when you're doing it. And that's why spending just an hour a day can be so impactful, because you're able to put in that effort and really push yourself to embrace learning to its fullest extent. So with that being said, I'm going to be continuing this challenge over the next couple of weeks. You can expect a new video next week, and if you have any feedback or suggestions, I'd love to hear from you in the comments below, and I hope to see you in the next one. Later.